I know.
3, 7 minutes just after. So this
Costco has got to have. I went online. Someone to go to Costco. Is that what I need to do so bad?
Thank you so much, Bill. You know, I was sitting back there thinking, in the black backdrop, you look like a beautiful Hawaiian sunset. And then you pull out Bali High, and I can't tell you the last time I've heard that song. It's been a decade or more. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Orange County. How you doing today? It's so nice to see you guys. Thank you for keeping your appointment with us. We like to get things going by singing together, which raises our vibration. Please rise and sing with me. Spirit is in this place. One more week, because we're switching out for September through the end of the year. Okay, here we go. We are come together as a family. Oh, it's a surprise to me, too. We have come here as we are. We have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof of shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. We sing in celebration. We sing with words of prayer. We affirm all life as sacred. We declare that peace is here. Sing out. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. You guys sound great. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. Oh, you guys sound wonderful today. You may be seated, and let's welcome Tina to the platform. Hi, Tina.
Thank you, Tom. Well, good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see you here today, this bright, sunny Sunday, the last of August. Whoa, where did that go, right? Well, it did go by fast. So we, again, welcome, and if you're watching us on YouTube, we're so glad that you tuned in. And if you're ever in the area, be sure you stop by to see us. We love to see you here. So we don't always, we start our service today by affirming principle number 2 of Unity's basic principles. And our principle is, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And our vision statement, we are love, honoring the divine in all. And our mission statement, we awaken, inspire, and transform lives through loving kindness, education, and service. And at this time, I would like to thank those and introduce those that helped make this service possible. Of course, our music team, Bill on piano, Tom on vocals and audio. Thank you so much. Mark is on camera today. Yay, Mark. Thank you. And Waverly is streaming. Thank you, Waverly. And our greeters today were Ellen and Cindy. Thank you so much for welcoming everybody today, and they will be helping with the offering baskets as well. Hospitality today was provided by Rosemary and Jim. Thank you, Rosemary and Jim. Angie will be our bearer of light, and she will be lighting the Christ candle and reading the daily word and guide us through our meditation.  。 We have a few announcements. On September the 8th, we will be having a round table, so please be sure that you mark that on your calendar. So that'll be September 8th, right after service, and we'll be going through a lot of the changes and things that we're going to be looking for and looking forward to. There aren't a lot of changes, but you know what I mean. There's always something going on. All right. The board will be hosting an ice cream social on September the 15th after service. We'll have ice cream and cookies, so be sure to invite your friends and bring your grandchildren and your family. Just, ice cream. It's the end of summer, and so what a nicer way to celebrate by having ice cream and cookies. Okay, chaplains will be available after service today for prayer. And thank you so much, chaplains. I certainly do appreciate all of the chaplains that we have here and that are giving of their service to pray with us. And we certainly do appreciate that. We are looking for volunteers to be greeters and hospitality. One time, Reverend Charlie said to us, if there isn't anybody who volunteers, then there isn't anybody there. And so if we don't have anybody volunteering for hospitality, well, that's what we get, coffee. And I know our Unity people, we love to sit and chat after and just love to sit and munch and just catch up for the week. So please see Ellen with the clipboard, and she will be asking for volunteers. And again, if you double up, it isn't so bad, because a lot of times people, I know everybody's going to tell me, well, I'm on a budget, I really can't, blah, blah, blah. Well, team up or have 3 of you do it together. So then that way it isn't such a hardship on just one person. And thank you so much to Rosemary and Jim who stepped up today, because we didn't have anybody for this Sunday. So they said, all right, we'll do it. And thank you very much, because we appreciate that. So, and greeters, really, greeters are fantastic. Coming in, giving you a name badge, greeting you, welcoming you, and that's what it's all about. Okay, and one last thing. Remember that we have t-shirts and hats available for $20 each, and you can see any board member, and we will help you out. All right, that is it for announcements today.
Thank you, Tina. So we didn't spoil the talk title today, but, and Reverend Peggy's been very open about this, we're talking about a trip on a mule down into a canyon. And you were so open about saying that, so I feel like that's not even really spoilers. It's really just more of a delightful teaser, because what does that mean? So, right? Well, I mean, I'm sure you'll find out here in a moment when you talk about it. So I kind of leaned into the whole idea of, obviously, life as a wandering path and that kind of a thing. And also, we're always moving forward. We can't relive our past. We can't go back to the past. So this is a Joni Mitchell song, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Yesterday, a child came out to wander, caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful as the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams. Words like when you're older must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Cartwheels turn to car wheels round the town. And they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet to slow the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. So the years spin by, and now the boy is 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams and plenty, before the last revolving year is through. Sing the chorus with me. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on the carousel of time. We can't return, you can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and round in the circle game. And go round and round and round in the circle game. Thank you guys for joining me. That was beautiful. All right, it is time to get ready for our daily word and meditation. We like to do that by singing together a prayer and an affirmation. As you sing these words, I want you to hear what you're singing and know the truth of them. The first one is for you. Here we go. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Now take it inside, know it for yourself, know the I am. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. Now expand to include everyone. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on blessing to the world. I'd like to invite Angie up to the platform.
Good morning, everybody. So Circle Game, one of my favorite songs of all time, and I'm glad we had a little song in between because I had to pull myself back together, right? Such a beautiful song. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. All right, so I'm going to begin by lighting the Christ candle today. Now, in the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine." I light this candle as a remembrance that the light of Spirit is omnipresent. It is within us and all around us. It is the light that shines in the darkness, and that darkness does not overcome it. So affirm these words within as I say them out loud. I am the light of the world. My life is illumined with Spirit, and I am guided in all I do. All right, and now for the daily word. Our daily word today is glory. I know the glory of God through the use of my divine gifts. How glorious life can be when I put God first. Immersed in the presence of the divine, I am uplifted, and everything seems possible. When I lead solely from my human nature, I am easily swayed. But when I live from my divinity, I navigate both the smooth and the rocky with ease. The glory of God is mine when I am fully aligned with God within, and I use my divine gifts with confidence and gratitude. I venture into life boldly, feeling fully deserving of the world's abundance, and ready to share of myself, so others may know of the world's abundance as well. I share my love, and Spirit shines its glory upon me. I bring the glory of God into the world. Again, our affirmation is, I know the glory of God through the use of my divine gifts. And the scripture, Christ in you, the hope of glory. Colossians 1:27. And now as our trustee brings forward the prayer box, we'll sing our thoughts or prayers.
Thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Let me take a moment to hold all of these prayers in our hearts, to know that they are already working, that everything is coming through exactly as it is meant to. We see each person surrounded with light, uplifted, knowing that they have all that they need. And we just send that love out to our congregation, to our city, to our state, and to the world. We know that when we ask in God's name, it is already given. So with love and gratitude, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Okay, now I'd like to invite you to get still for a moment of meditation. So comfortable. Allow yourself to relax. Let's take a deep breath in. And just let everything just fall away as we exhale. We center ourselves in the here and now. We center ourselves in our divinity, in love. We feel that presence, the presence of God that is always with us. We feel that oneness with all that is. And we allow ourselves to accept that this is us. This is the truth of who we are. We are divine. And holding on to that divinity allows us to express in the world as love and as light. Let's take a moment and just center in. Feel the love that you are flowing through you as you. And let's be with this for a couple moments in silence. As we move forward today, let's celebrate the love that we are. Let's celebrate the love that each person is. Let's see the good in our moments and in each person we meet so that we can share that light and share that love with everyone we see. And so it is.
that. Thank you. Well, it is my privilege and honor to introduce our speaker today, who is Reverend Dr. Peggy Price. We are so happy that you're here today. Reverend Dr. Peggy Price has been in service of the ministry of Center for Spiritual Living since 1996. She has served 2 pulpits, first in Huntington Beach and the second in Seal Beach, California. Dr. Peggy and her husband, Don, moved to the island of Kauai for what was believed to be their, quote, happily ever after. Due to unforeseen circumstances, it became necessary for Peggy and Don to move back to California this past June. Over the duration of her career, Dr. Peggy has also been deeply involved with interreligious and interfaith peace building, including on a global scale. She was one of the co-founders of the Greater Huntington Beach Interfaith Council in 1996. She also served as an ambassador to the Parliament of the World's Religions from 2009 until 2018. She has traveled on peace building and dialogue missions from United Religious Initiative, Pacifica Institute, Nazareth College, and Association for Global New Thought. We've been very busy. In 2009, she was awarded an honorary doctoral degree from Holmes Institute for her work in interfaith activities. In the same year, she was also awarded the, quote, Meritorious Minister Award for her accomplishments with Center for Spiritual Living. She and her husband, Don, live in Laguna Woods, California, and they regularly attend CSL Laguna Woods with Reverend Dr. Linda McNamara, who was a mentor and teacher. Dr. Peggy now serves as supporting minister for CSL Laguna Woods and also comes to speak with us as well, which we are grateful. Her talk today is Setbacks and Switchbacks. Let's welcome Reverend Dr. Peggy Price.
Thank you. Well, aloha, everybody. I still love that word. I use it a lot. But I'm not here to just talk about aloha. I've got a lot of things I want to share with you this morning. I'm, first of all, very grateful to be back here. In many ways, the Unity of Laguna Hills has been a second home. My dear friend Melanie, I started to say Mohit, but then she became Margaret. Melanie and I were good friends when she was here. And one summer, she had back surgery, and I filled in for her for that summer. And so I really love this congregation and really love the teachings of Unity. They are very much in alignment with Science of Mind. It's easy for us to travel back and forth between those teachings because we both have very strong basic beliefs. And then I have lifelong friends also, Sandy O'Connor, who went to high school at my high school. We were classmates in school, and we've been in touch over the years, on and off, forever, and here we both are now here in Laguna Woods. Bill Wolf and I go back to, 1986, when I first met you. So, and Tom has been with Unity here forever, and it's so nice to be able to think that Tom's still here and he'll get it done. He gets it done, and you have a beautiful voice, and I love your choice of music today. It's beautiful, wonderful. And then there's my wonderful, wonderful partner and hubby and friend and supporter, my dear Don, who's here with us too. Annie McCary. There are a lot of you here that I know, and it makes me feel very much at home. So I'm glad to be here and glad to be back. Now, I picked this title because I really have two interconnecting stories to tell you. They're both you can't really do one without the other, but they're very different in their context. And also just a little bit about where I am in my life. The reason that we had to come back here, and it wasn't last June, I should have checked that more carefully. It was 2 Junes ago that we moved back. We've been here 2 years now. I began experiencing the loss of eyesight, and on the island of Kauai, there just was not the kind of care that I knew I was going to need. And we lived out in the country, and I couldn't drive anymore, and it just became obvious that it was important for us to come back here. We chose Laguna Woods. We are so glad we did. And then I joined with Dr. Linda at the center there. She and I also go back to 1986, so we have a long-standing connection too. So what I want to tell you about today, do many of you have a bucket list? I hope you all have a bucket list. I have a bucket list. And I keep that bucket list going because I think that's part of what keeps us going, is when we have something else to dream about and think about. But in 2013, Don was invited to a week-long music camp. He plays ukulele all over the place here in Orange County, but it was with one of his most favorite teachers, and it was on the island of Molokai at a private ranch, a privately owned ranch. And I thought, I want to go too. So I came along. Well, I wasn't sitting in on the sessions and workshops. I was looking for other things to do. And one day I took a hike up the road, and about a mile up the road are these stables where there are a herd of mules. And the mules were there for the intention of taking people on a trail ride down to a place called Kalaupapa, which was also known as a city of refuge. And it was the place where people who had Hansen's disease, now and also known as leprosy, were literally cast off and left until a man by the name of Father Damien came along. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. And I thought, this has been on my bucket list forever. I'm going to sign up, and I'm going to take that mule ride down to Kalaupapa and learn more about Father Damien. So I went to the little window, and then the man came out to help me, and he was definitely a mule skinner guy, and his name was Buzzy Choate. He didn't have all his teeth, and a lot of them really made me aware that he was using chewing tobacco. And it was just a classic. And he said he was from Missouri. And so he's just perfect mule, Skinner Wrangler. And so I asked him, well, what do I need to know for tomorrow when we go down the trail? And he gave me a couple of things that I should be sure to bring along. And then he said, do you pray? I said, yeah, I pray. But yeah, I pray a lot, in my head. He says, you better pray. He said, because these mules know if you're praying or if you're afraid. And if you're afraid, you're not going to have a good time. I thought, okay, I'm on board. So the next morning, I walked back up to the stables, and they were getting everybody, we were all getting assembled and getting a little pre-trip information. And then they kind of chose us according to maybe our size or weight or whatever for our different animal. And so I finally got chosen to ride on this one that had kind of a dark coat of fur and or hair. I don't know what you call on the skin of a mule, but whatever it was, it was a darker color. And so the wrangler that was helping me get on the donkey was, very helpful, very nice. And I said, tell me the name of my mule. I want to know what his name is. And he said, looked right at me, big eyes, and said, Buck. And I thought, oh my gosh. And then he said, no, I'm just kidding. His name in Hawaiian is Pukalani, and his name in English is Twilight. Well, I know some Hawaiian language, and Pukalani, puka is like a hole or an opening, and lani is heavenly. So his name was Heavenly Opening, and in direct translation of Hawaiian, but Twilight makes sense because I would see where they'd say that. So Twilight and I became friends. I made sure that Twilight knew that I was trusting him and that we were going to have a good day. Now, to go to Kalaupapa means that you go down a cliff that is 1,200 feet to the floor. And it is literally straight up and down. And one of the reasons why Kalaupapa is where they would put the people that were sick with this disease is because there's no way out, really. I mean, if they tried to climb, in those days, there was no trail. So there are 26 switchbacks to get you to the bottom. And those switchbacks are very tight hairpin turns. And for anybody that knows and has ever been on a trail with switchbacks, you know that that's how you're going to get down the mountain. So we headed off on our donkeys, and I was, our mule, not donkey, sorry, on our mules, and I was second to last. And the person right behind me was a physician. And I thought, oh, great, we got it. And, you know, he was just one of the guests, but he was a physician. Great, if anything happens, we got a doctor on board. Well, what I didn't realize is this guy was a hypochondriac. Because he would talk about compression fractures on his spine and how his was going to hurt our hip bones. And I was just listening to him going, oh, I got to tune that guy out. And behind him, there was a wrangler behind to lead up the back. And then there was another mule, and his name was Lunchbox. Guess what he had? And there were about 15 of us, I think. And we started down the mountain. And the first switchback, I thought, I'm just going to close my eyes, because it was literally like that. It was like this hairpin, true hairpin. And I thought, I got to remember, mules are one of the most sure-footed animals on earth, and I'm going to trust my mule. So that was my first lesson, trust your mule. And so we went back on down a few more, and I was to the point where I thought, well, I know on roller coasters I always close my eyes, so I'm just going to close my eyes when we go on the switchbacks. And then I decided, no, I'm going to open my eyes. I'm going to see where I'm going. And then I looked down, and I thought, holy cow. So lesson number 2 was, don't look down. And so I went back down, and I kept thinking, you know, wow, this is so amazing, this animal. And the trail was rocks and like a concrete curbing that made a step, but all the earth had been blown and rained away, so these animals had to step on these rocks to get us down, which is pretty treacherous and pretty amazing that they can do that. And then he would just stop. But his ears would move, and he was listening and looking to see where he was. And I thought, lesson number 3, pay attention to where you are. And so then he'd move on again, and I couldn't help but think that maybe what he was looking for was a low branch where he could wipe me off, but I had to work on my consciousness with that. So we made it all the way to the bottom, and we made it there safely, and then looked back up at where we had come from, and it was pretty amazing. 26 switchbacks to the floor. So now I want to tell you about Kalaupapa. As I said, these stories are related, but they're very different, because that's very lighthearted, and this is much more heart-opening. Kalaupapa is probably, I don't know, as big as maybe 10 acres, maybe a little more than that. It's a small area, and it's in a bay, and as I said, it's surrounded by cliffs. Now, the Molokai Channel is one of the most treacherous channels in the islands, so ships coming from Honolulu to Molokai go through a lot of very rough, treacherous water. And the problem with Hansen's disease was in the city of Honolulu, it was becoming almost epidemic, as well as on the outer islands. And at first, they would put people in jail because they had nowhere to put them. If they put them in hospitals, the doctors got sick too. And so they decided that all they could do was to send them off somewhere else. Now, this is toward the late 1800s, 1870 era. And so that's what they decided to do. Now, we might be familiar with AIDS and how people got treated in the beginning, and that was very much the same thing. They were saying that these people got sick because of their sins. And somebody said, well, what about the children? Well, they're sick because of the sins of their parents. And this kind of judgment was what was being applied to people that were just incredibly sick with something that at that time could not be cured. And so they would drop them off in the ocean with whatever belongings they might have, and they'd have to get into shore and live in this squalid, place where there was no fresh water except up on the side of the mountain. They'd have to go up to gather it from a spring. They lived on coconuts and fish and poi, or taro for the most part. And so this was their subsistence. There was a bishop at the time in Honolulu who had a heart. And he asked his new priests that had come to Honolulu to be in service if any of them would volunteer to go to Kalapapa. And he told them, this is a dangerous thing to do. You might get sick too. But Father Damien volunteered. At that time, he was a young Belgian priest, age 33. As a quote from him, he said, Jesus died when he was 33. I'm beginning my ministry at 33, which is to imply I'm carrying on the work of the Christ. I think that's beautiful. And he went. And he made such an incredible difference to these people. He first built a wooden flume, a kind of a wooden pipeline from the spring down to the base area where they could contain the water that they needed for fresh drinking water and so forth. I failed to mention that Molokai didn't get a lot of rain, so they really needed that spring water. He began to build with the help of the able-bodied people, who still were able-bodied enough, to help build little houses for the people that were now living in lean-tos and whatever they could find, or just sleeping on the ground. And he started building that. He would go back to the diocese, send a letter back to the diocese when the ships would arrive, and ask for lumber, ask for all the things that he needed. And they decided he was kind of a pain. But, they did as much as they could. He went back to Honolulu at one point, and he said he had to come back to make his confession. He was a good Catholic, and he felt he had to do that. And they told him never come back again because they didn't want to catch this awful disease. He did eventually get sick. But in the meantime, he had built another chapel. There was one there that was just about falling down, but people would come to Mass, and he cleaned it all up, and then he got artists to paint the inside of it so it would look like heaven. And the ceiling is all this beautiful cerulean blue with stars. And when I walked in that little chapel that was so beautiful inside, I started crying. I just felt the love of this man, this willingness of him to be in real selfless service to people where he knew he was taking risks, and he did it anyway. And to me, that is just such a powerful example of the Christ in flesh, in the human form. The young women that were brought there were also in serious jeopardy, of course. And so he finally got a Catholic nun who was a nurse to come and be with him there. And she built an area an area built that was walled off, where the girls could go to school, where they lived away from the men, and they were safe. Because there was just they were living this horrible life. He eventually passed away from leprosy or Hansen's disease. But the church did finally canonize him, I think about 10 or 15 years ago. It's been that long. But this man's legacy was so powerful and so beautiful. And it was just one of those people that I admired so deeply because he knew he was not born to do small things. But the small things he did made such a big difference to these people. Now there is a cure for Hansen's disease. It's no longer the terrible scourge that it was at that time. But there are still people living in Kalaupapa who were too disfigured to want to go back into society, and now they're getting very old. Some of the ones that were just like little babies at that time or children of people that had it, because that went on for a while. They didn't find a cure until many years later. So there's still staff there. They have a post office and a grocery store, and it's really lovely. They have a dock. They have a way of getting boats in and out. Helicopters can get in there. But the trail that we were on was declared unsafe, and so that's not viable anymore. You cannot get there by mule. So it was time for the mule ride back up, and I invite you to read a lot more about him. I just think he's one of the most remarkable people in the history of the Hawaiian Islands, and what he did and how much he helped these people. So now it's time to go back up. One of the things I failed to mention on the way down was I also learned that if you lean forward going down a hill on a mule or any other steed, you're going to feel way off balance. So when you're going down the hill, you got to lean back. And if you think about that in terms of just enjoying the ride, that's lean back and enjoy the ride. On the way back up, we lean in. Now going back up the mountain is another challenge, isn't it? And so we lean in order to move forward in life when some things seem like they're mountains. And so again, we had the switchbacks. And again, all the same things applied on the trail. What was interesting was it took us far less time to get up than it did for us to get down, because those mules knew they had some goodies in the barn and they were ready to get them. So the idea of switchbacks is how to get from point A to point B. Sometimes looks like a zigzag, right? Just like sailing when you're tacking. A lot of times we get into places in our lives where we feel like we're going backwards in order to go forward. And those things I call switchbacks, because they're just part of the twists and turns that we have in life, and we take them, and as we do, we move on. Setbacks are a little different. Setbacks are like if a branch had fallen across the trail. And in order for us to get down the mountain, first we'd have to get rid of the branch, right? And in that sense, when we experience a setback, then that's when we have our spiritual work to do. That's when we have the willingness to look at whatever it is that is going on that is a setback for us, as to how to overcome it, or how to live with it, or how to move around it or through it or under it, whatever it takes to get us on our path. So we live life that way. We live life with the switchbacks, and we have setbacks. If we can look at the setbacks as just that, this is a setback. But this doesn't mean my life is over or ended, or that my purpose or my goals can't still be met, because they can. I'm experiencing this vision loss. I live in a world that is very, very blurry and kind of gray, like there's a curtain over everything that's kind of gray. But it seems to be stable now. And I see this as a setback. I don't see this as something that is going to stop me from doing all the things that I still would like to be able to do, that I'm able to do. So I'm grateful that I'm still able to see. Even though I can't see your faces, I know you're in your seats, and I can see that. And I know that this is a setback in the sense that I have to readjust and readapt to my life. But I'm learning new skills. I'm learning how to do things differently in order for me to be able to go forward. And I live in gratitude that I can still see. And I see this as an inconvenience, but it isn't a stopping point. It isn't something that I have to sit down and just give up on. It is a setback. And so I still enjoy my life. We have another bucket list coming up. We're going to do a French River cruise in Chile, November, but that's when we could get this cruise on our terms and our way. I want to go see Notre Dame now that she's finished. We're going to do that on this trip. That was also another one of my bucket list things, because I don't want to give up on that. And we don't have to give up when we're having setbacks. And when we're dealing with the switchbacks, we just have to remember, if I need to do this so that I can get to there. And that's the way I'm going to do it. So I really love the idea of those two things. It's a little bit like stumbling blocks and stepping stones, with a very similar kind of idea. So those mules taught me a lot. Don't look down. Trust your mule. Lean back and enjoy the ride. Take time to stop and see where you are. And just enjoy the ride back up. And look back at where you've been and celebrate it, because that is what life is about, is celebrating our good, being grateful for what we have, being able to live with whatever circumstances we must deal with, to live with a place where we can find gratitude in whatever way we can. So I'm grateful to be here, and I invite you to just go within with me for a moment. To know that right where we are, there is one life, one power, one presence. I call it God. It is love and peace, wholeness, beauty. It is all that is, wholeness, wisdom, intelligence, and all that is within me and within each and every one of us in this room here and now. For we are one in that ever-living, everlasting, beautiful, unified field of pure love. And so we celebrate this day, and we reflect upon the switchbacks in our lives and the setbacks in our lives. And we know that as we address them, knowing that we are always, always in the arms and mind and heart of the one, we find answers, we find ways forward, and we find peace. And I speak my word today for anyone who is facing any kind of challenge, whether it be health or relationship or financial, or needing a deeper sense of peacefulness within their own hearts. I speak my word knowing that that power, that presence is there, moving through as you in this moment now. So I give thanks for this time together. I give thanks for the blessings of this day. Join with me in saying, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Peggy, for that story, and thank you for the lessons that you learned along the way. That was a wonderful story. And I love how in that moment of death-defying, you found the humor and you found the lessons in it. That's just really inspiring to me. This is a story about going through something, or the song is about going through something, coming out the other side, and appreciating what you've been through and who you now are because you've done it. Let it go, let it roll right off your shoulders, don't you know? The hardest part is over, let it in. Let your clarity define you let it slide. Let your troubles fall behind you, let it shine. Till you feel it all around you, and I don't mind. If it's me you need to turn to, we'll get by. It's the heart that really matters in the end. Our lives are made in these small hours, these little wonders, these twists and turns of fate. Time falls away, but these small hours still remain. All of my regrets will wash away somehow. I cannot forget the way I feel right now. In these small hours, these little wonders, these twists and turns of fate, yeah, these twists and turns of fate. Time falls away, but these small hours still remain. Yeah, they still remain. These little wonders, these twists and turns of fate. Time falls away, but these small hours, these little wonders still remain. Welcome back, Tina.
Thank you, Tom. That was beautiful. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Peggy. That was just a great message today. Thank you so, so much. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you. So this is the time of our service where we practice the principle of giving and receiving. So let us bless our offerings if you have any. And if not, let's put our hands together. It doesn't matter. Let's just bless because we are just so grateful. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we always give and receive in love. And because you do make a difference when you practice this principle. Our church is solely funded through your generous offerings and donations, and your financial support is appreciated and needed. So we can't do it without you. There are several ways that you can donate. You can text to 77977, and in the message put Unity of OC Give. You can go to our website, and you can go to the My Church app as well. So we want to say thank you very much. And this is a time when we welcome any people here who are here for the first time. So if this is your first time here, do you raise your hand so that we can give you a special blessing? Just raise your hand. Hi, so that we can see you. Hi. So nice. Look at this. We have some beautiful people here. We also have someone here who hasn't been here for a while, but raise your hand because we love you, and so nice to have you back again and visiting today. So let us have a blessing for everyone, everybody here today. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you, and thank you. So if we could have our donations up, and Angie will bless the donations.
And so with gratitude and love and joy. We accept this abundance, these blessings, and see them going out to do so much good in this world, to see prosperity sent out to all, seeing us all blessed and uplifted. And with gratitude, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is.
So it is, amen. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. And remember, turn on your heart lights. Let them shine wherever you go. Thank you, and have a wonderful week.
And as you turn on that heart light, please honor the child that still lives in all of you. Let's sing together. Stand. This little light of mine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. And please join hands and we'll sing together the peace song and then our prayer for protection. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy as well. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God, and the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. All together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.